Okay. What we are doing today is we are working on my boat. The motor that we're working on is it's the Tower of Power, the Mercury 90 horsepower 6-cylinder, and we're gonna do the carbs today on it. I got my little buddy here. You want to say hi, Eleanor?
Hi.
You wave?
Hi.
We'll see how long she lasts. It's a rain day today, so a good day to work on the boat. So this is the motor. You have a good look at it. Maybe yours is like that, and this is the one that you're wondering about. I'm kind of thinking right now I got some fuel stuff going on, so I'm not 100% if I need to do the carbs, but the boat spanned a total of about 5 years sitting. So I think a good clean regardless is in store. So we're going to go through the walkthrough of taking them apart and cleaning them. And
now I can keep that up there forever.
yeah.
Stays up here.
So I'm going to wear some rubber gloves because they're doing some work in front of the house and I got no water for the day. So
Got your fly.
Catching flies?
Yeah.
Alright, so how these come off is this turns, opens up like that.
I can't get this thing I want to get.
These pop open, they're easily adjustable.
Let me just get through this.
Really after, oh, you're trying to get through all the holes in the things in the roof, eh? Oh. I see you're gonna be quite the helper today, huh? Did you know those hooks are where Dad hangs deer?
No.
Creepy, hey? Okay, so these carbs, they're all put on. They each got a bolt on this side and one on the other side. So can definitely get at, you know, these ones here. But the ones on the other side, they're pretty hard to get at, and I think everything's gonna come off a little bit better if this is out of the way. I'm gonna try to just move it over without disconnecting everything. But I'm thinking the one thing I might have to do is this, the fuel primer valve might have to come off. But I think all the other wires go to the other side, so it should just pop off and be able to just tuck over out of the way. So make sure your battery is disconnected anytime you're playing with your motor, especially the electrical. And take a picture of everything before you take it apart. So that's disconnected. That can go to the other side. All this is mounted onto here, so it should be able to just spin over out of the way. So I'm gonna try that.
I remember the camera.
The one day I don't lose all my tools on my own, you're hiding them all on me. We already watched our Saturday morning cartoons.
I'm going to watch it right now.
Okay, well, let's see how this moves, being disconnected. Alright, so this seemed to work, just taking it off here. I think I can get at all these bolts now. I've seen people like strip this right down, which is fine, I guess. I just, after doing it like this, I just don't think it's necessary to do all that. I'm gonna disconnect this fuel.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see what fuel lines need to come off here. So this is the main inlet right here. This is on the pump, but this is obviously in front of it, and it's got to come off. So this is gonna have to come off. Same with this fuel primer line here. This will have to come off, this will have to come off, and this will have to come off. I like to slowly just kind of see if I can't Just gently wiggle them off first. There we go. Yeah, see they're coming. Let's put this under here. So this is the fuel pump right here. There we go. So yeah, sometimes just get that in there, and I just kind of felt it pop loose, so it should come nice. So this is off the main line, so there might be a little pressure on it, but I did unhook the hose, so it might not be too bad. Okay, that's good. I'll have to take these two lines off here. There we go. You just feel it just barely pop, and then you can wiggle them. I kind of like this better than just grabbing them and pulling them, because then you don't want to rip anything, but like just pushing them nice and gentle, you can just kind of feel them pop and break loose. And you should be able to wiggle them after that, but maybe we need a little more coercion. There we go. Okay, so I got the main fuel line from there disconnected, which is this one here. The primer is disconnected, so I should be able to just get these bolts off, and they should just slide out. I'm gonna take a picture of this, because having this kind of like sitting in that position is good too. All right, we got a 7/16. I'm gonna go with my skinniest driver. So another thing you can do is drain all your carbs first, but I'm just gonna take them off gentle, and I'll drain them all once they're all off. And be careful not to lose these bolts. So I'm just gonna take the last little bit off with my finger, so I'm holding them. Okay, so I'll probably have to hold that piece a little bit off to the side to get this one on. Okay, I'm gonna get a good look at right here, because I want to make sure that's back where it needs to be. So, so you can see how tight that is to that. Even though like an angled one would help. Kind of grabs it just enough to turn it. There we go. So when you're taking all of them out in a row, just like make sure they all come at once, because we don't want to break these sink arms. Okay, so these just slide right out of there. You can see there's like an inner tab arm, and then these are slatted. So it's kind of how they sync up. These gaskets are gonna come off. Okay, so I know I'm gonna have these off for a little while, so I'm just gonna put some paper towels in these so nothing gets in there. I'm using this tougher like shop towel stuff. I would never do this with like regular paper towel. It falls apart too easy, and you'd hate to get a little piece of anything in there. Okay, I'm just gonna tuck this back in place so nothing's twisting up on here while it's just sitting. So the nice thing about these motors, like I find them really easy to work on. Like my other boat is Johnson Evinrude, and like everything is just covered by other things. This motor's like quite accessible for most things, so I really like that. Like the water pump, or sorry, the fuel pump is like right here. You know, if you wanted to rebuild it, it's just a couple easy accessible bolts. You just pull them off, pull it apart. You just rebuild it's just a kit for like the gaskets and stuff. So I mean, it's all just parts and just the ambition and willingness to learn on your own and do it. I know maybe that's easier said than done for some people, but I mean, you know, maybe if you watch this carb video, it kind of gives you the confidence to work on this. Okay, so I'm gonna separate each one of these, and I'm going to make sure you don't get them mixed up either. Make sure you know, like carb 1, which is kind of obvious with, you know, it's got this on top that runs along that little throttle slider or whatever you want to call it. So I'm gonna just cut these lines, these little zip ties, and take them all off. Okay, so this is the bottom carb, so I'm probably just gonna do one carb at a time so I don't have parts and stuff everywhere. So I was kind of definitely going to play with this because I noticed this one was just like a hair out of sync from the bottom. So I'm going to figure out how the adjustment works on here, and I'll show you that. There's you know, this screw here, which might be it, or maybe this adjusts side to side on here. I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to figure that out. Not a 5/16. Oh, it is. And it looks like that's the screw to adjust it. So you just loosen it up and then you can turn it to however you want. Oh, one thing I'll tell you about these like Dixie cups, these solo cups, don't ever fill them with fuel. This whole bottom ring will just disintegrate. There's some glue or whatever on there. It's actually like 2 pieces, and then you'll have fuel everywhere. So I'm gonna have to pull out this idle screw. So this is like adjusts your main fuel to air ratio. So when we put it back together, we'll kind of go over that. And not sure exactly which ones. I'm guessing this is gonna be the main jet through here once this comes off, but I'm gonna just kind of dump some fuel out of these. Okay, so they have the either a flat or a Phillips. Honestly, I'm just gonna use a flat because I find the Phillips, if it's not perfect or if they're tight, they strip easy. So under here is going to be the bowl and the tangs and the seat. So this line right here, what this is apparently is when you're at kind of that top end throttle, it starts adding more air and less fuel into the carburetor just for better fuel mileage. The issue with that is you're running your motor at extremely high RPMs and you're starting to run it lean, which I don't agree with, and neither do a lot of boat mechanics. So I'm going to take this off all these carbs, and I'm going to just put a shrink tube over them just to seal them up. So I'll probably just film the one carb because, you know, there's no point watching me do this 3 different times. If you really want, you can just replay it 3 times. So I'm just gonna loosen it up. So yeah, if I were you, I'd pull this line off first. It's just easier. Looks like it's just gonna rip. It looks like pretty soft line, so I think I'm just gonna try and work it off here if I can. It's stuck at the back. Here we go. So this is the tang. One thing I can tell you, that seat on the inside, that little piece there should come down. It was stuck up. Yeah, it's sticking up. So something's gummed up in there. So one carb, right away found one issue. Because if that's not dropping, that's just going to be not allowing fuel through, because when the bowl is full of fuel, it pushes that up to block fuel from coming in, and if that's sticking up, fuel's not going to be allowed into the bowl. So that's no good. So the bowl is just in here. Should just slide out. So just on first inspection, it looks like it's all intact. It looks dry on the inside. I'll do like a little submersion test with it. It's got this tiny little spring on top, which looks like it stays in place, so it shouldn't come out. And that's just what's making contact. Oh, see, that seat fell now. So basically when your bowl fills up, that's gonna rise and boom, it's gonna stop fuel from coming in. Okay, so we got one tang off. You can see this little pin has these notches on the one end, which is there's I guess be kind of splined, I guess. So there's a certain way they come out. Looks like this side. Oh, this side is too. So I guess you can go in either way, but the one side's smooth and one side's splined. So the spline side has to come out first. And then I'm just having troubles with this one because I can't see which side's spline, but I'm trying to push it out one way or the other. So we're just kind of working with that for a minute. Okay, so how I figured out which side was spline here, there's a little bit hanging out on each end. When I was trying to tap it, it wasn't really going the one way. Tried tapping it the other way and it seemed easier. And then of course I can see that little splined end on there. Just using a tiny little Allen key. It's a little bit tricky just to get in there, but once you get it a little bit below the edge, then it wants to hold in place, and it just popped out just like that. There's my little seated needle. So that needs to be all cleaned out because it shouldn't be stiff in there. It should be free floating, and I can see there's a little bit of kind of old gummed up fuel in there, so that's gonna get a good clean. Okay, so this should screw out. What I'm looking at here, is that it's a 5/16. It doesn't seem to go on that way. Just the box end works. Maybe it's metric. I don't know. Everything else seems imperial, but gotta love when things are mix and matched, eh? So just the inside of there, I don't know how well you can see it on the video, but it's definitely a little bit of gum up in there, so I'm gonna get that all scrubbed out and cleaned, and this screw is gonna come out. There you go. These little brass pieces, you want to make sure you got good fit on them all so you don't strip anything. Probably just clean that out with that in there. So I don't think that needs to come out. Just looking in there, you should be able to just spray that through with carb cleaner, and you should be able to just clean it from the outside anyway. So we're gonna just put that back, pop all these old gaskets off. Sometimes if you just take your time and try and get it all in one piece, that's the easiest. Look at that. Okay, just gonna start a submersion test for this float. Just gonna fill that up with water. Put that in there, and I'm gonna find something just to, like, you know what? Just this old compass is gonna work just perfect. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this off. Screwdriver. Just be careful with that one. It's a little stiff. I'm assuming this is gonna get me access to that main jet. Oh man, that is gummed up in there. Let's see what's in here. Okay, so it's just a screw to give you access to where I guess the fuel comes. From the bowl. That pin does not come out. That just helps guide the bowl. Okay, I'm gonna pop this line off here. My little helper is gone. Which wasn't helping much anymore, but still nice just being together, even if we're doing two different things. Get out of there. Gonna be a couple things here, I'm gonna guess. There might be a spring in here too. Oh, no. It's entertaining. I just don't know where anything is. I'm just figuring it all out as I go. Alright, well, let's take this out and see what's in here. But there is that little hole. I don't know if you can see that. It's just inside there. So to start out, I just took this yogurt container and put some fresh premium gas in there with a ton of sea foam. So I'm just gonna let that soak good before I give it a good scrub, and then kind of just get the heavy stuff off of it, and then I'm gonna hit it with some carb cleaner as well too. So a lot of people will buy all new pieces. I mean, yeah, they can wear out and stuff a little bit, but usually they need a good clean. Nothing in here seems overly like, you know, it's going to be plugged or cause a big issue. The tangs, you can kind of bend them a little bit, so really no reason to get those unless they're broken. So we're just going to pick away at doing some cleaning. Okay, so I'm just going to use the gas out of here and just start scrubbing these pieces. So this one's got a little build up here. I might hit it with the more of like a wire brush. Seems to be, there we go. It's peeling it off nice with the wire brush. So this is the one that was on the bottom of the bowl. This had a lot of like old, you know, that old fuel when it kind of turns green and black and just looks like garbage. So a lot of that build up right on the end of the screw here, and we don't want that floating around the carb at all, so we're gonna make sure we get all that off. This is that air fuel mixture. Just gonna kind of just go through all the pieces and just scrub them one at a time here. I do just like light with the wire brush. You don't want to hit it heavy and scratch it all up and change the shape out of it, but I'm just trying to get all the, some of the stuff you can tell is just caked on there a little bit. So I'm just hitting it lightly with the brush. So I do got this set. It's a bunch of little files for jet cleaning. Get yourself a fresh full can of carb cleaner. If you're gonna take all the time to pull these off, hit them hard. So when you're doing these files on these brass pieces, like you're just trying to get the gas off. Like you're not trying to rebore out a hole here. So you don't want to change this, alter the size of these holes. They're a specific size for a reason. So I'm just kind of nice and light just to get any gummed up fuel out of there. Okay, so I'm gonna just clean the outside of this carb here. You're gonna start blasting out. Oh yeah, there we go. This straw, if you get it from this backside here, this fits right snug in there. They stink. So I got the right size file for in there. So I'm just gonna work it around each side. Remember, don't push hard. Just all we're doing is getting the old fuel off. I'm gonna see how well I can hit it from the bottom here. So feels like the inlet at the bottom is pretty small. So we're gonna put something a little bit smaller in there. Tiniest little one here. Yeah, tiny little one fit in the bottom.
For sixth, the women's soccer teams go head to head.
For more details, check out jack945.com. With Sean and Jen.
For armor safety consulting and training.
Well, that sure come out of there a lot better. Just gonna scrub in here, make sure that bowl has a nice smooth surface to move on. Yeah, we got everything sprayed out really good. The carb cleaner is, it's definitely a key ingredient to doing this. It just peels away everything so nice. So behind this bolt, it's kind of like a little just an area where fuel can sit, and I'm definitely having troubles cleaning that out good. So I'm pulling this off just to get in there. Oh, you can see that, but that is just full of gummed up fuel. So I can see there's a little jet inside here too. So I'm gonna see if I can screw it out. Just finding thing after thing here. I'm gonna start piecing this back together. So when you put this one in, don't screw it hard, just it's gonna go in all the way. It's gonna come back, so straight up and down. Turn and a half, so there's one turn and a half a turn, and that's just gonna be where you're gonna start. I have zero concerns about this float. I'm just gonna give it a good scrub. I'm just gonna put this part of the car back together. It's the top of the bowl where the seat and the tangs are. So I'm just gonna screw that back in there. Don't want to over tighten it, but where's my little seat? There it is. It's still nice and clean. Just gonna give my hands an extra little wipe here just to make sure that I'm not putting any dirt or anything in there. And it doesn't seem sticky anymore, so maybe it's just the tiniest little bit of gummed up fuel. I'd imagine the fuel pressure would blow it open, but you never know. Okay, so just gonna put the tangs back on. So this one's gonna go on first. It's kind of obvious to know which one goes on which side. So the one with this hook goes on the bottom, and it obviously goes in that one there because it's the only one that fits. Okay, so I'm just gonna give those a little light tap back in. You don't have to like smash them down all the way, but at least want that spline piece to kind of be most of the way in there. I'm gonna find the flattest thing I got. You know what? Use an old CD case. Back when I used to burn CDs. Got the Offspring, some Soundgarden, some Weezer. Oh man. Okay. Anyways, you probably don't want to care about that, but somebody's gonna laugh about that. So now I can see that seat's coming up and down nice and easy. It's not getting stuck in there. So, and then how this works is we're gonna just want it kind of flat, and when it's flat it should be closed all the way. So when I try to blow air through here, so I can still get a little bit of air through there. So I'm just gonna push it up a little bit more and see. Okay, when I push it up more, I know that I can completely block it off. So I might have to bend that one tang up a little bit, but let's try that again. Yeah, so I'm able to push a little bit of fuel or air through there, which means fuel can get through there. It's not much, but it's more than I want. So I'm gonna take and just kind of bend this bottom tang up a hair. Okay. Maybe a little too much. Let's try that. Perfect. So got it on a flat surface, just blowing. I can't get any air through there, but I do taste some carb cleaner and some fuel. All right, so my tangs are set perfect. Happy with that. I'm not gonna put that back on because I still need a seal for that, but I'm gonna at least like put it in place so that, you know, nothing's getting inside of these and they're staying clean. So things are definitely going to want, anytime you take these apart, I didn't order mine yet, but I'm going to, is you're going to want a gasket kit, because obviously you have to have new gaskets. So there's going to be one over this screw here. You're going to have one for the top of the bowl. And then you're going to have the one on the back of the carb where it goes up against the engine. I'm going to take this off actually, and I'm going to do that shrink tube thing I'll show you. Okay, so I found the right shrink tube. I'm going to put that on there. I don't really want it, don't need it that long. Probably something like that. So I'm going to take a little off the end here. This one's going to go there. It's probably a little bit long too. Guess if I cut this right next time, I can make 3 pieces out of one, because these kind of come in a little pre-cut kit. Put that one there. One there. Should close off. Pinch it. Push that down, make sure it's nice and sealed. This piece don't get too crazy because this is a plastic piece on there, so you don't want to get too crazy warping it. We're just gonna get this plastic worm and I'm just gonna pinch it off. Okay, I'm happy with that. Looks like they're sealed up good there. There we go. So always just be careful, take your time when you're putting all these in, just don't strip anything. So this is the outer one from right here. I'm gonna just put it on part way so I don't forget that it needs a seal. This bottom one, I don't know why there's no gasket or anything in there, and I feel like they kind of leak a little bit. Got a couple more little screws to put on. This little one's gonna go down here. So that one you can just take off and you can kind of clean right through to you can do a lot of this stuff without even like taking the carb right off the boat, but honestly it wasn't that hard to get them off, so it wasn't really like a whole project taking them off. But that through there gives you access to the port from the bowl into the main carb where the jets and stuff are. So this little one, where did this go up top here? I'm just gonna kind of finish doing this one. So that is one carb. Okay, so just looking at this tang on, so I just got the second carb pulled apart. I can already tell this by looking at it. It's definitely a little bit over center. So I know when I blow through that on flat, it's gonna go. So I'll have to probably bend that other one back up, but we'll test it here. So yeah, I just blew through it. There's a lot coming through there, so bend this other one up a little bit. There we go. Perfect. I'm telling it's like, I don't know if you can see the difference, but it's just a little higher there. That's where you want it. So I'm just putting together the third final carb. So when I did the first one, I noticed that the seat was sticking up in there, and I did at some point mention, oh, maybe the fuel pressure can push it open. I'm gonna retake that because I really don't think that it does, and the reason why is as like if I block this end off and I tip it upside down so the float is pushing up, I can't blow air through there like with my own pressure, and when I tip it down I can go through. So I'll see if I can do this here. So I'm not sure if you can hear that, but when I tip it up, like it blocks right off. Like I can't get anything through there. So definitely, if that seat is up and stuck in there or sticking in there, that's a big issue. You're not gonna get any fuel to your carb. So the first one took me a little while. I'm sure I'll edit it in the video so it looks better than it actually was. But after doing the first one, like man, I ripped through these other two quick. So yeah, they're fairly basic. I think if you watch this video and go through it, it should give you the confidence to just kind of know how to take it apart and put it back together. So I'm gonna finish putting this card back together, and then when I install and adjust them and everything back on the boat, I'll film that.